Welcome to Shared Insights, the podcast from BA Insight. My name is Pete Wright, and I'm joined today with Jeff Fried. Hello, Jeff.
Hello, Pete. I've become quite fond of talking to you. It feels like a very regular connection.
I know. It's almost becoming a little bit of technical therapy, I think, for both of us, really.
All right. So what's bothering you this week, Pete?
Yeah. Well, frankly, I'm just relieved that you are home, Jeff. I know you've been busy traveling and enjoying the nooks and crannies of our nation's great airports. But in that time, BA Insight has released a new product, and I want to make sure you're up to speed.
Well, I'm glad you can brief me on it. I'm really excited, actually, because this is something that I hatched as part of my evil master plan about a year ago as a way to get a new face into the market and more particularly address a search problem that I kept hearing about from users of Dynamics.
Okay, here we go. Now, I read your blog post on this announcement, which came last week, and it all starts here. And I wager you launched this new product. You hatched this idea specifically so you could write this line: "Search in Dynamics sucks."
Well, yes, it's all about the blog. Believe it or not, I spend a lot of my time building products.
Yes.
And the fact that people say search sucks depresses me.
Yes.
It's not just in Dynamics. I hear that fairly universally. And as you know, a big piece of it is practices, not technology. But for Dynamics in particular, there are people that live in the CRM system, people who are sales folks and services folks, most commonly. They live and breathe this information. And if you can't find everything you need to about a particular customer or a particular case, it's really, really frustrating. So search in Dynamics has been weak, both because of some intrinsic issues, such as the fact that Dynamics search has been specific to what they call an entity. You can only find things that are cases or accounts or opportunities, but much more so because getting at information that's outside Dynamics is inevitably required. In my blog, I have 8 main areas that I found people needed more than what Dynamic Search gave them, but they really boiled down to being able to get at external content.
Let's take a step back, if we could. Can you introduce to us what Dynamics 365 is, and particularly for those who don't spend a lot of time in CRM and ERP, applications, and talk about why this is coming up now, particularly, what sort of weight Microsoft is putting behind it, to get it out there in the market.
Sure. Dynamics is Microsoft's portfolio brand for customer relationship and enterprise ERP software. And historically, Microsoft actually had 5 different Dynamics products and still does. So, for example, Microsoft NAV was the acquisition of Navision, mid-scale manufacturing-oriented ERP. Microsoft GP is Great Plains, which is a financial system used by small companies. Microsoft CRM was also an acquisition and has had a lot of development, but recently has had a lot of attention from Microsoft. It's a market where Salesforce is the gorilla, and Microsoft has been significantly behind, but has made great inroads. I think I had a prediction around Dynamics on my blog, and we did a podcast at the beginning of this year, believe it or not, about 5 months ago, that Dynamics would gain significant traction on Salesforce, and that's already happened. Microsoft went from 5th place to 2nd place in this arena. Now, in the last year, there have been 2 big pieces of news. The first being the introduction of Dynamics Online, and that's analogous to Office 365. Dynamics 365 is a SaaS solution all in the cloud that you can then get at different modules. And in fact, within that, there's things for services, things for sales, things for marketing. And now there's also a Dynamics 365 on-premises version. So that's been a pretty exciting development in Dynamics land. The other is the acquisition of LinkedIn, which was a quite large acquisition, like $26 billion. And the first fruits of that came out about a month ago with an integration of LinkedIn Sales Navigator to Dynamics 365. So you can look at people's profile in LinkedIn, tie that to your sales pipeline. You know much more than about the customer than you would otherwise. So between those two, the introduction of Dynamics 365 and LinkedIn, there's a lot of excitement around Dynamics. And we started developing towards Dynamics about, as I said, a year ago. Since these two things were sort of in the works, that was looked like a good opportunity. And I'm really glad we did, because both of them have been bearing fruit in the last month or so, just as we're ready with our search for Dynamics offering.
Let's talk then about search and why you are hearing that search is challenged in Dynamics. What does Dynamics have for search, and why is it challenged?
Dynamics has a built-in search, as many applications do. There's also a recent offering called Relevant Search, which uses Azure Search tied within Dynamics. And sort of by the fact that they introduced something called relevant search, it means that the previous search was irrelevant. But
that's a little sad.
It is sad. There's, at a high level, really sort of 8 areas where when we went around and talked to Dynamics users, we found that they needed more than what Dynamics Search provided. And the number one thing was intrinsic, that people needed to get at data that was outside Dynamics. So, for example, I'm a service rep, and I've got content that's in Dynamics around my cases, but I also have TFS or some other bug tracking system. I have product literature that might be in SharePoint. I have some other reference knowledge bases that could be in SharePoint or could be in yet another system. And Dynamics users had to go to 4 or 5 different places to answer a question or get to the bottom of something, often with a customer on the line.
Well, and we've been those customers too, right? I mean, when they call, when you call somebody and they tell you, "I'm sorry, I have to go to a different database," and it takes forever. I imagine this is a source of great frustration.
It is. It's support people are typically as frustrated as the customers. And there's nothing special. I mean, this isn't a problem that's unique to Dynamics. Every CRM system has this problem.
Right.
Because have a really good relationship with Microsoft, the ability for us to solve this problem for Dynamics was the right target.
What does this do then? When we talk about, we know the experience of BA Insight and connecting multiple enterprise systems. What does Dynamics do from the perspective of somebody who is using it?
It's quite simple. Our Search for Dynamics product plugs into the dynamic UI, which is meant to be extensible and customizable. And then the end user can search for anything right from within Dynamics. They don't have to leave, and they get high-quality search on content that's in Dynamics and outside. So I'm talking to that customer about a problem with this product. I can go look and see this customer's history of issues, an indication through refiner counts that there's a lot of other customers that have had this problem. I notice a bulletin that's coming from SharePoint, and I can track a bug related to that might be in TFS. Now, that UI component is actually working against a search index that's outside of Dynamics into SharePoint or Office 365 search. And that's where all of our other products are working. So the connectors that we have to 60 some odd systems all apply. And the auto classifier adding in and tag data to allow better findability and navigation, that applies. as do all of the people finding, the linguistic spelling and ranking stuff that we've added. So you could say, well, Jeff, you're cheating. You've just basically put a new face on the same thing you've been doing for 10 years. And I'd say that's fair. The Search for Dynamics product itself was all about being able to plug into the Dynamics UI framework and doing that well. And then we inherit all of the search goodness from our other products and from SharePoint or from our other search engines such as Elasticsearch or Azure Search.
Can you talk a little bit about the editions that you're offering Search for Dynamics for BA Insight customers? You've got 2 different editions. What do those make up?
Yeah, we usually don't do a lot of editions. Try to keep things very, very simple.
Yeah.
But there's a free edition, which is just the UI. And that's because we want people to be able to adopt this download, install, and go. In that case, you install the free edition, and then you do still have to look in 2 places, meaning you literally have 2 search boxes. One is stuff within Dynamics that is getting at information the same with the same search you're used to. The other is everything that's coming from Office 365. So that is the free edition, and then the enterprise edition, I guess, is what our marketing folks are calling it. It includes the connector to Dynamics as well as the other things that come with it so that you get a unified view that includes inside and outside of Dynamics.
It removes the second search box. You just have one search box, gives you the whole Megillah. Okay.
Correct. And by virtue of that, we're also resolving some of the issues that are within Dynamics. So universal search, for example, is the Dynamics word for how you search across different kinds of entities all at once, cross-entity search. Mm-hmm. In my blog, I listed out these 8 areas that people said, this is such a pain. And better refinement and drill down, it's very easy to see how you get that and related information. Some of the things such as linguistics and spell checking are a little bit more abstract. You get that as well. I've been also surprised that there are gaps just in the Dynamics SharePoint integration because Microsoft is also trying to make Dynamics 365 and Office 365 work together in a pre-integrated fashion. And I'm a big fan of that. So these kind of gaps, for example, if you can store notes and documents working within Dynamics, but they end up being stored in SharePoint, the problem is that then they don't show up in Search in Dynamics. Mm-hmm. So it's sort of like a black hole.
Right.
So you'll also resolve those kind of gaps in the process.
This product, as you know, and I think you're minimizing it when you say it's essentially putting a face on what you've been doing for the last 10 years. The truth of the matter is this is something that is directly dealing with customers potentially in real time. And as anyone who has managed a sales and service organization that has had their sales and service folks struggle with cutting time in interaction is a real blessing, and it's absolutely worth investigating. I have absolutely been there myself, and I think it's this has a lot of promise. So
yeah, in a previous life, my first startup was a call center startup.
Oh, so there you are. No wonder this is part of your plan.
Yes, as very close to my heart. I've had 2 startups that were in customer service and call centers. And it's not just being able to answer the question quicker, it's being able to have all the knowledge you need at your fingertips.
Yeah, to answer them right.
Answer them right, exactly.
Yeah,
you can answer
right.
Not just answering it fast, it's answering it right.
Well, so there you go. I had no idea that you were a vessel of karma for the systems that don't work across the industry, Jeff.
A vessel
more
of
power
karma.
to you.
A vessel
That's right.
of karma. No wonder you think of this as a therapy session.
All right, Jeff, this is out. It is out for people to try right now. What are you looking for from good listeners of this show?
As always, I'm interested in feedback and suggestions. We're, of course, always interested in more customers, but Dynamics is new to us, even though we've been doing search for more than 10 years and spent a lot of time trying to understand the problems that people have in Dynamics. this is an area I'm all ears to make sure that we get it right. And any suggestions, ideas, feedback, discussion, don't hold back.
Well, we've got links galore. We've got a couple of great links in our show notes, including a way to contact Jeff directly and provide your feedback on Search for Dynamics. We encourage you to go check it out. Swipe over in the show notes and you'll see the link for our product page where you can learn more. Thank you, Jeff Fried, for walking us through this. It sounds like you really are up to speed on this product. I'm glad, in spite of your travel, you were able to do your homework. Well done.
Thank you, Pete. And I do have a couch in my living room if you ever want the full Freudian treatment or Friedian treatment.
The Friedian treatment. See, you beat me to the joke. Okay. Well played. Well played. Thank you, everybody, for downloading and listening to this show. We sure appreciate your time and your attention. And now we'll let you get back to work. See you next time right here on Shared Insights, the podcast from BA Insight.